Chuck E. Cheese is keeping a 3-stage. I recently made a video because Chuck E. Cheese announced that a Studio C beta stage was going to be kept in Nanuet, New York, and that we could also be getting 1 or 2 other locations keeping their stages as well. Today we have some news on that and more. The New York Times put out an article where they announced that 3 more locations are going to be keeping their stages. And some of these are fan favorites too. The first one is the location in Springfield, Illinois, which holds the Concept Unification 1 stage. A very unique stage, only 1 of them currently exists and only 3 were ever made. So I think that's really cool. They're going to be keeping one of those around, such a unique stage. I think that's sick. The second location is Hicksville in New York. I honestly don't really know what's super special about it, but I do know that it's a very good condition 1 stage that fans have really been wanting to stay. So I'm really happy that Chuck E. Cheese is listening to everyone and keeping that stage as well. And then the third one is of course Pineville, the location in Charlotte, North Carolina, which has a 3-stage. It's one of the 2 3-stages still remaining and the only one to still currently have both the building and the moon animatronics, as well as the unique Munch Jr. replica. This is my favorite Chuck E. Cheese location, and it's the one that I've heard most people say they want kept, and people have really wanted a 3-stage to be kept as well, so this is great. I'm very happy about this. Great decision to be keeping it. It has sadly been confirmed that there will be no more locations keeping their stages, so we'll just have these 5, but you know, we'll take what we can get. Way better than 1. But the news doesn't end there. We have a lot more information about these locations, and it's pretty cool. In an article put out by the Washington Post, there's this section where, referring to Pineville, they say the North Carolina location, which opened in 1993, will also feature an exclusive collection of memorabilia, including artifacts, paintings, and old decorative pieces as it undergoes renovations. Brady said that they want more pieces for that collection, and he encouraged fans to donate to the exhibit. So not only is Pineville keeping the stage, but they're also going to have an exhibit in there which has a bunch of old props and stuff from old Chuck E. Cheese's. Definitely not something I expected them to do. I thought it was just going to be like Northridge, where they keep the animatronics but everything else turns to 2.0. But no, apparently this is going to be like a really special thing. We also have some information from somebody that works at corporate for Chuck E. Cheese. He said some stuff on Reddit. This thing saying that Pineville will be having their renovations in June. So next month we get to see what the little exhibit's going to look like. We don't know when the other places are going to be having their renovations, Hicksville and Springfield, but Pineville is happening very soon. I'm very excited to see what they have there and what the whole store is going to look like, I guess, too. He also made a little bit of a description of what Pineville will look like. He made this message saying, "Correct. I was at the store last night and they showed me what was planned. If you're facing the stage, the video wall will be on wall to the right. The art/memorabilia display will be on the left in the alcove, which used to house the attractions just for younger kids. The dance floor will be in the middle of the room." Now, if you haven't been to Pineville, there is this little alcove that he mentioned. It's kind of like a small room that goes into where the wall is. There's just some like really little kid arcade games there. And it's a pretty big area, so apparently that's going to be where all the old stuff is. So it's going to be like I assume a little museum or something like that. I think that's going to be pretty sick. Good use of that space. And then also somebody brought up the idea of like making a Chuck E. Cheese museum, and he said, "I don't know that we'd open a museum. Really, it seems like we have enough stuff to be an exhibit in someone else's museum, but not an entire museum. We'll have a lot of cool stuff in Pineville too." So Chuck E. Cheese has kept a lot of their stuff, not enough to fill a museum, but a pretty decent amount of their old things. Not everything was destroyed, and some of it will be in Pineville. So yeah, Pineville is going to be a very cool location. I'm very excited to see what that's like in June, and a whole little exhibit with stuff in there. That's going to be sick. I'm not sure about other locations, if they're also going to be having stuff put in, or if it's just going to be Pineville. But we have gotten information saying that the Nanuet location is going to be a 100% retro store. Not exactly sure what that means, like if they're going to be putting stuff in like Pineville, or if they're just going to be keeping it the same as it was before, like not going to be renovating it too much, or if they're going to be reverting it back to an even more retro state, you know, maybe dim lighting and stuff like that. Not much information on that, but a 100% retro store sounds awesome. In that little survey I mentioned in my last video where Chuck E. Cheese asked people what they want Chuck E. Cheese's future to look like, there was stuff asking about themes for locations, one of them being a retro theme, so I guess people have answered that, and Chuck E. Cheese has heard our call. So yeah, 100% retro store, very curious to see what that looks like. We also have some other news about the Nanuet location. In my last video, I mentioned that I was kind of confused because the Studio C animatronics don't perform anymore. They switched to a new type of way that they do the performances, and they can't run that in the Studio C animatronics. So I was a little bit confused why they would want to have just like a lifeless animatronic kept in one of the places, but we now know that they're going to be switching it back to their old way of performances so that this guy can move. So that's awesome. I haven't seen a Studio C animatronic perform in person in like 10 years or whatever. So that'll be really cool to see when that happens. And also the animatronic in this location, they're actually going to be switching it out for one of the 32 movement animatronics, which is good. If they're only going to be keeping one Studio C, I'm glad it's going to be the good one. Also, somebody made a Reddit post about this location in Saudi Arabia, which has sky tubes in the 2.0 style, which is kind of crazy. And the same worker made a reply to this where he said, none of the US locations are getting this. We are testing something in the same genre at a few locations in the US this month, but it is very different from what is pictured here. So apparently this month, June, in the US, a few locations are going to be trying something new in the same genre as Sky Tubes, but not exactly that, so you know, some type of kids play place. And I'm very curious to see what that's going to be. It's possible he could be talking about trampolines, but that's already happening in a bunch of locations, so I don't know if he would call it, you know, something new they're trying out, but I guess that's also a possibility. Either way though, we'll find out pretty soon because as he said, it's going to be happening this month. But yeah, as far as I know, this is all the information we currently have about the 5 locations that are going to be keeping their animatronics. Pineville is going to be renovated very soon, so soon we'll be able to see what that's going to be like, and I assume soon we'll also be getting information on the other locations as well. I'm very excited to find out what's going to happen with them. As I said, no other locations are going to be keeping their animatronics, so if there is a place that you really want to see the performance at, or really want to see the location, whatever, probably go to those pretty soon. A lot of them are renovating soon, and all of them will be renovated eventually, other than the 5 I mentioned. So yeah, definitely make sure you see the locations you want to while you have the chance. There is a lot of stuff that they're not keeping, which is sad, but the 5 locations that we have, I'm pretty happy with. Some of them are fan favorites, and like, at least we have all the animatronic types, the concept unification ones, the Cyberamics, and the Studio C. But yeah, that is all the news we have today. If we get any more information on these guys, I'll make sure to let you guys know, but this is the end of the video. So if you want to subscribe, you can click the button on top of my head. If you want to watch some of my other Chuck E. Cheese videos, you can click these buttons over here, and I'll see you when we get some more news on this stuff.